Oh man, that was legendary. Those car sounds came in courtesy of Jacob. That is his, wait for it, 5-cylinder Rabbit. You weren't expecting that, were you? And he was racing it at a rallycross event held at the Pikes Peak International Raceway. How cool is that? Right here in my own backyard. PPIR is a great motorsports facility. I run a lot of events there from their autocross events, the SCC autocross events that are held there, Track Attack, which is like autocross, Time Attack, and the open lapping there. So PPIR, great venue, but also they do rallycross too, which is something I haven't had a chance to get into yet. Jacob sounds like he is having a blast doing it. So, I mean, you could literally hear all the dirt and rocks and everything kicking up against the car there. I thought that was awesome. Now, if you want to send your car sounds into the show, you can do that. I can only encourage you to do that. And you don't need to be doing anything crazy. You don't have to be racing at a rallycross event. You can just send a sound of your car idling in, doing whatever. So I will play them on the show. Just know that. So send those car sounds in, facebook.com/automotive ADHD. So I got to talk a little bit here about how the car theft nationally here in the United States is on the rise, and how Colorado is now the capital for car theft in the United States, which was mind-blowing because I was searching all these car theft statistics and I was thinking like, oh man, I'm trying to find something national. I'm trying not to find something local. I want to see some national statistics, and I kept seeing Colorado. I mean, come on, you think it would be like New Jersey or something. Sorry if you're from New Jersey, but like New Jersey or like New York and the Bronx or something like that, right? It's not though. And that's evidenced by the sad news that I have to bear that weighs heavily on my heart, which is that one of my vehicles in the fleet is no more. It is no longer with me. Now, it is not the S2000, which is sitting nice and fine right here by itself. It is not the 86, which is sitting across from me over there. At least they couldn't take the S2000 because it's not driving right now, so they really couldn't steal it if they wanted to. But it's my 1977 American Motors Hornet, of all vehicles, that was stolen. Tragically, in the night, thieves came in around 2 a.m. It was all caught on security camera. Took them 2 minutes to get into the car and drive away with it. And it's odd to me that they would have chosen that car. But like I said, it's here. And let me grab this real quick. It's sitting across the studio garage over here. Hold on. Here it is. This is my bill of sale for the car. I'm showing it to the viewers on YouTube and Rumble. This is my oil-soaked, very oil-soaked, bill of sale for the AMC, which I bought a couple years ago for the whopping sum of $400. I mean, a real financial loss. I mean, I may not, financially, I may not recover from this. And I don't know how this bill of sale got so greasy. Well, it's probably in the AMC. That's why it happened. But that's one of those things that, at some point in your life, it might happen to you. And it just was my turn in this case. Now, that being said, I've prepared a eulogy for the AMC. I've got it right here. So if you'll humor me, let me read the eulogy for the car. Give me just a second. Here lies my 1977 American Motors Hornet. Well, I actually don't know where it is. So somewhere lies my 77 Hornet, no doubt in the hands of thieves who are enjoying it more than I am. They're enjoying how even with the original carburetor, it somehow still started every time on the first bump of the key. Probably why it was so easy to steal. Scratch that first bump of the screwdriver, we'll say. Now, the car lived a long life, 46 years. Jimmy Carter was president when it rolled off the line at American Motors. To this day, one of the greatest auto manufacturers. And since then, it's seen 7 other presidents, the fall of AMC, the subsequent resurrection of the company, and once again, the fall of AMC. In those 46 years of existence, the venerable AMC Straight 6 received at least one or 2 oil changes, all that was necessary for an engine that some say is almost as reliable as the Ark of the Covenant itself. When it left all too early, the heater still didn't work, so I take solace at least in knowing that wherever those thieves are, that at least they're cold. Almost divine retribution, you could say. I have many fond memories of the car, how a leak in the power steering hose would spray fluid directly onto the exhaust manifold, causing a spectacular fire only on sharp left turns. That, of course, was until I replaced the line. And how the one time in its existence that it failed to start was because of a battery cable that had finally disintegrated, succumbing to the sands of time and corrosion. An easy fix nonetheless, but the car that day was likely protecting me from getting into a catastrophic wreck. It wasn't fast, it didn't handle well, but damn it, it was a good car, and it will be missed. Gotta wipe a tear away here. Now let's have a moment of silence for the AMC. Just a moment. Okay. So, thank you for humoring me on that there. And it is a tragic loss. But I do wonder, really what prompted the thieves, aside from that car being an easy one to steal. I mean, it predates transponder keys significantly, but I really do wonder what drew them to that car, because it's old, it's unusual looking, it's bright orange. It, to me, seems like a conspicuous car to steal. I mean, typically people steal cars for use in other crimes. They'll steal a car to go commit other crimes with it. Likely the car that the thieves drove up in was also stolen. So I don't really know. It's, again, just too conspicuous. It's old. When I was filing the police report, I had to explain to the police officer what American Motors was, that this is an AMC Hornet. He hadn't heard of AMC. So he literally said, he's like, how will I recognize it if I see it? What should I look for? And I said, it's unusual, it's really old looking, and it's bright orange, but it looks nothing like a Chevy, Ford, or Dodge from the 70s. It's different. And that goes to my point, which is, if you're going to commit other crimes with it, why would you pick that? Why wouldn't you pick a gray 1999 Honda Civic? I don't understand that. Also, I bet the thieves were a little disappointed to find the holes of rust in the floor. Like, you could kind of like Flintstone the car around, kick your feet out, or the fact that like nothing in it worked. But I don't know. And even more perplexing, the car was missing. I had taken off the driver door handle to replace it, and I hadn't actually put it back on yet. So the only way in the car was to reach your hand into the gaping hole in the door and actually know in the dark where to grab the latch striker, and from the inside of the door handle, pull the striker up so you could open the door from the outside. To me, again, very, very strange circumstances. And it is sad to see the car go. Truly speaking, I'm not out that much money. I put a battery in it, a power steering line, some other stuff here and there, but it's not that bad. And I mean, talking about first world problems. So yeah, my car got stolen and I drove one of my other 7 cars to work the next day. So what can I say? There's definitely people out there who it would have hit harder. And I think that's one of the tragedies of car theft is I'm in a position in my life where that wasn't actually it was a minor inconvenience. It's sad, but it was a minor inconvenience. And that's what breaks my heart about car theft, because a lot of people who have their cars stolen, it's not a minor inconvenience. It's their only car. It's how they get their kids to school. It's how they get to work after driving their kids to school. It's their only car, and they might not have enough money to replace it. They probably didn't have the money to have full coverage on it. So insurance just tells you, oh, well, in my case, I only had liability coverage on the AMC, which means that the insurance company will do. I get nothing. I don't get anything. But that's it. I wasn't that much money into it. So I think that's the tragic thing here. Now, car theft is absolutely categorically on the rise across the entire country. And as I mentioned here at the top of this segment, Colorado is now the car theft capital, which is interesting. So according to the Colorado Springs Gazette, local paper out here, they talked about how the Denver area has seen an increase in car thefts of 35% 5% over the past couple of years. And vehicle thefts jumped from 377 per 100,000 people in 2019 now to, and this is for the whole state, now to 636 car thefts per 100,000 people as of 2021. That's the most recent statistic there, and that's statistics from the Department of Public Safety. And that also puts Colorado at the top, the truly the top of the country right now for car thefts. And you might wonder why that is. Why is Colorado, of all things, the center for car thefts? Why isn't it New Jersey? Why isn't it New York? Why isn't it, I don't know, somewhere right next to the Mexican border, somewhere in Arizona? They take the cars right into Mexico. It's likely, and this is what I at least surmise from this, and some people have also kind of come to this same conclusion. It is that Colorado is right in the middle of the United States. We're smack dab in the middle of the country. We are the most landlocked state you can get. And because of that, though, we also have a couple of major interstates that run through Colorado. Interstate 25 runs from Texas through Colorado all the way up to northern Boulder. We've got Interstate 70 that runs the entirety west to east and right through Colorado, west coast to east coast, smack dab through Colorado. So we've got I-25 and I-70 intersecting here in Colorado. And it's very easy to think that you can steal cars here in Colorado and very quickly, in the span of a night, get them into another state, 2 states over, whatever, and where they will never be seen again. Or perhaps going down towards the Mexico border again. A lot of these cars are probably going into not New Mexico, but Mexico proper. And that's very likely what's happened. Now, like I said, this car theft in general, really disproportionately hurts people who can afford it the least. If you can afford it the most, having your car stolen is an insignificant thing. Now, for me, if I had my one halfway decent vehicle, my Tacoma, if I had that stolen, that would be a bit of a financial burden. That truck was like 26 grand used, and that would be a little tougher pill to swallow than looking at my AMC here, $400. But that being said, it definitely affects people who can afford it the least. And this is now reflected, too, in a current bill that is being proposed. And State Senator Rachel Zenzinger, a Democrat from Arvada, and Bob Gardner, a Republican from Colorado Springs, introduced a state bill that would, it's Senate Bill 23-097. And what Senate Bill 23097 does is something I think a lot of states should consider. It ups the penalty for car theft. It ups the penalty drastically to basically saying that any car theft is a felony, regardless of the value of the car. Representative or State Senator Zenzinger said, quote, "A stolen car represents more than stolen property. It impacts people's ability to get to work, shop for groceries, and live their daily lives." Exactly. And I agree with that. This is something, for one, this bill is very bipartisan. We have a Republican and a Democrat both backing this bill. Very bipartisan because car theft affects everybody equally. It doesn't matter what side of the political aisle you sit on. It affects everyone. Anyone who has a car has the capacity to have that car stolen from them. And this bill would aim to increase the penalty for that. And I think I support this bill, and we don't get too into politics on this show. I support this bill, and I would support this even had my car not been stolen, because the fact is that the car theft stuff is rampant compared to where it was in years prior. It has only gone up. We've only seen this too. I've talked about on the show before with the Kia Boys TikTok trend, where these guys steal cars steal Kias, specifically Kias and some Hyundais, using a USB cable. They have found the ability, an exploit, if you will, that allows them to steal modern cars that use transponder keys, no less. Transponder keys, by the way, If you're unfamiliar, I have my keychain here. All of these old school keys that are flat metal, there's no plastic on them. They're just keys. They physically interact with the lock tumblers in the ignition. That's all they do. My Jeep key, the Volvo 240, the AMC key. Oh, that's sad. And then the 86 key, which has a little plastic nub on it, but there's no transponder in there. More modern keys from the late 90s and 2000s are thick. They are really thick. And that's because there is an electrical device in there that communicates with the ECU to prove its authenticity, to prove that it's not just a screwdriver being forced in the lock cylinder, just breaking the lock cylinder and starting the car. Even more modern cars now, obviously with keyless access and keyless start, push button start. They go about that, but in a different way. But it's the same idea that without the actual key, you can't just hotwire the car, because without the key and without the signal from the transponder or the keyless start, without either of those to tell the ECU that this is a authenticated start, yes, you can hotwire, you can wire the starter motor to turn over, but that doesn't mean the fuel pump's going to come on or the ignition is going to come on. It doesn't mean it's going to do that. But that being said, with the Kia boys, somehow, thanks to some gross difference in design, somehow some model Kias can be started without the transponder key present whatsoever, which is mind-blowing when you think about it. The Kia boys trend on the internet is purely exemplary of the fact that car theft and crime in general has been on the rise. I find this interesting, tying this back to Colorado, because back in 2021, our Colorado governor, Jared Polis, signed a bill into law that downgraded, in 2021, he signed a bill that downgraded the range of criminal penalties, this is according to the Gazette, for certain crimes, including auto theft. But now he's changed his tune on that, maybe because you've seen what happens when you do that. Theft goes up when you do that. He now says, quote, that he endorses the state's efforts to, quote, get tough on auto theft sentencing. And again, I couldn't agree with him. I couldn't agree with this bill as a whole. I don't necessarily agree that our governor was flopping back and forth on this issue, but all that really matters at the end of the day is that that we get the issue dealt with. And I think this Senate bill definitely does that. And I definitely think that other states that have high car theft rates, I mean, it's across the country. Like I said, they're stealing cars here in Colorado to send them across the country, to send them out of country. If you're in another state, it's by no means it's not exclusive to Colorado. I assure you of that. By the way, in total, 4,000 vehicles are stolen per month, according to statistics on the Rocky Mountain Insurance Information Association. Thefts are on track to exceed 48,000 thefts for the year, which, again, is an all-time high here. And the value of stolen vehicles in the country is estimated between $468 million and $843 million, which is mind-blowing. When you think about car theft, how profitable can it be to steal old cars? Clearly very profitable. I mean, we're talking nearly $1 billion industry in the United States is the car theft industry. I mean, it's massive. It's ridiculous. You talk about billion-dollar industries, right? You think of drug trafficking, you think of these different things. Car theft is one of them. Absolutely. Anyway, if you want to, avoid getting your car stolen, again, I think the best piece of advice I can offer here is just have a car that doesn't run. That's that's the best one. Just have a car that doesn't run. None of my cars that don't run have been stolen. So I guess that was the major fault of the AMC, was that it just ran too well. So I guess, and I take fault for that. I take criticism for that. So anyway, hey, coming up in the next half of the show, Jimmy Ford, Pikes Peak hill climb driver, joins me right here.